Okay, it's Saturday, Romford Horror Film Festival. My name is Peter from the festival team, and we've just had a screening of the Italian classic The House by the Cemetery, and I'm delighted to be joined by one of the stars of the film, Silvia Collatina.
Hello.
Hello Silvia, thank you so much for coming to Romford.
My pleasure.
For the second time.
Yeah.
So you were here 2 years ago, and you've returned, so that's good. Couldn't have put you off that now, badly.
No, I'm very happy to be here. But first of all, if may I,
Yes, go.
I just, because I was thinking of it since days, I just want to remind and remember somebody that was with me 2 years ago, Giovanni Lombardo Radici,
Sure.
in February 2 years ago, and in a couple of months he passed away. So, I think we are all a big family. I consider us as a community of horror, not only horror fans, but because I'm a fan as well, but I mean actors and directors, whoever in this genre. So when somebody passes away, for us is a lack. We miss some people like this. So I just want to make a round of applause to him if we can. And for sure now, Giovanni is mumbling together with Lucio upstairs over there for sure, because he was a very particular person, always on his own.
Yeah.
So
He was a great actor, especially in Italian horror, so yeah. He was one of my guests 2 years ago, as you say. So,
he could tell us lots of things. He had a very big culture, and he knew lots of anecdotes to tell us. Now he can't tell it anymore, but that's life, unfortunately.
that's a beautiful tribute. And as also say, we have Dell'Acqua here for, if any translation is needed. Your English is much better than my English, I would say, so...
No, I can tell you that I have only problems in understanding,
Sure.
because when you speak very fast, of course, I
Yeah.
don't. I speak better than I understand, so please go slow.
So first question for me, this film was made over 40 years ago. Did you think that 40 years later you'd still be talking about this film in front of fans like we are today? Did you think that back then?
No, for sure not. As Ottaviano told, we was acting the movies of the 80s without thinking how great they could be even now. And even Fulci, they didn't thank him for what he did. He has been recognized in this last period. So we just did it, but we didn't. We didn't know it. We were in the golden age of horror movies of this genre. So I'm very happy, but I know the reason why. Of course, now we are still talking about this movie. Because these are masterpieces of horror, so we will never have the same. I know that they could even sound a bit slow. Some movies, even I saw Halloween of Carpenter. It is very slow. I'm not accustomed. I'm not abituato, oddio, used. I'm not used to see this kind of music because movies. We are very. Everything is very fast, and everything happens in a while. But we should, because they're really. We will not be capable to do something like this and like the others. So I'm glad, but thanks to Fulci and Argento and Bava and others, of course, lots of others, we will have to consider them as jewels.
So I read that in another interview you described yourself when you were a child as a little pest.
Me?
Yes, that's what I read.
Yes, I can tell that in any character I interpreted, there is a little bit of me, of myself. In House by the Cemetery for sure, because I love Gothic, I love macabre, and that's me. And in The Great Alligator, I was past, and that was me as well.
Yeah.
And also in Murderrock, because I love macabre as well. In the movie, I was a little bit nasty, and perhaps that too. So there's a trilogy of myself in all the movie I did. So, but I had very good heart. I was.
Yes.
Are you still a little pest? I wanted to know. I'm hoping not.
No way. In a way, in a funny way. Yes. In a funny way.
So let's talk about Fulci. What do you remember of him from that set? Was he a shouter, or was he a very calm director?
I know he has this. There is this rumor. He was rude. Okay, I know it was not very. He didn't have an easy behavior towards us. I mean, as a whole, I can say yes.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't a little bit unpleasant, unkind to people, especially to women. Do not walk. I don't know why it was so mean to women. He was happy when they felt uncomfortable. I don't know why.
Right.
But to us children, he was very demanding, very serious. But we consider him as a teacher, and as such, we wanted to please him and to do our best. So perhaps there is the scene while I was in front of the shop window and I had to cry. I was not capable to cry because I had to cry in front of a person that I didn't care of. Anya Pironi, I didn't have anything with her. I mean, she was not very good at acting according to me, so I was not involved in such feelings. So I didn't cry, I couldn't. And he yelled at me all the time, screamed, "You have to do like this, do like that." I was so scared that I cried myself. It was real, the scene, and after I couldn't stop crying. I was shocked. But Antonella Fulci, Fulci's daughter, who was there with us on the set, hugged me and told me, "No, it does anything against you. He can even cry as a child. He's very childish as well, talking about his father." So, in a way, I was a child, and he was a child as well.
Yeah.
How did you get on with your other co-stars on sets? Was it a nice environment between you, or?
Yes, in House by the Cemetery, of course. Yes, I was very close to Giovanni. We were good friends, and we played all the time. So, but I can tell you that Paolo Malco, Norman, and Catriona were very, very. They pampered us. Anyone there pampered us.
Okay.
Fulci a bit less.
Okay.
But I can tell you that we didn't feel this problem, or we didn't have any problems with anyone. So it was a very good atmosphere, and we were just acting like it was a game, something to do together, but very professionally.
Yeah.
I had a very good consideration of Giovanni, and I can tell you, even though his voice in English, you heard the real voice, even if it has been dubbed by a woman. But I know that the English version is definitely very bad, because lots of people told me that he sounds like whistling tea kettle. So I know. But I can tell you that I had a very keen consideration, very big consideration of his job, because he acted very good, and Fulci knew that.
Right.
He was very, very involved in that role.
So you said that you've always liked the macabre and dark things, and that's what you're into. When you were 9, was that right? Yeah. So on the set, obviously, you're seeing sort of lots of blood. Well, it's not lots of blood by today's standard, but I guess there is some gnarly kind of with the eyes, especially with a lot of Fulci films. There's a lot of gore and blood and stuff in this film.
Violence.
Yeah. How did you, when you were a child, were you fascinated with that, or were you scared on the set? What was?
Now I can tell you that I love anything about the movie and anything about blood. I was very curious, and I was always in the makeup room to see the tricks, the special makeup effects. So I was surprised. I was very happy to be there. I loved the smell of the fake blood. You know, was in any scene you see there is the hyper violent ones. I was there behind, behind the, in a corner looking at it. I was very, that's very fascinating for me. I love anything about it. I was not scared at all because that's my the place I wanted to be was on the set with blood and anything. So it was a pleasure.
So your first film was a few years before that, wasn't it? What was it that made you want to be an actress when you were much younger?
I was very, very shy. Very shy. No, now I'm not at all, but at the time I was very shy. And for me, it was like a job. Really, I was very professional. I really wanted to give my best. But at the time, since I was and I am red hair, people considered me a little bit weird. So I stopped acting because of this. I feel uneasy. We were not a lot of children acting at the time in Rome, and so I felt like being an alien. But for all the time I did it with all myself.
Were there any audience questions at this point? Yeah.
Silvia, it's been great to see this in its original version. I mean, I love this version a lot more, and I think the dubbing, I saw it 32 years ago at the Scala, and it was again, the reactions, like this plays more like a Guillermo del Toro thing. I'm curious about the local reactions to this film, because obviously we've seen them, thankfully, too. And I'm just curious to know what was the reaction like initially in Italy when this film was released?
Well, I was 9. I don't remember exactly. I didn't go to the cinema at the time, but I can tell you at the premiere, there were lots of us and relatives and friends all together, and what gave me lots of pleasure is that my sister was very scared when seeing it. She told me that she was shocked. That only I can tell you this, but probably I can tell you anything more about it because I was very, very young. But I think it has been even censored, yes, in some parts, because it was very violent. You can see that.
I was a little older, and I remember these kind of movies were really considered not quite schlocky, but very shocking and very violent and very lowbrow. So it wasn't very. I think maybe the filmmakers, it must have been a bit disappointing to be put in that category because they put a lot of effort in it. They were. I don't know.
Please consider it.
Yeah, they were not treated. It was kind of a bit rubbish. That's what they thought they were. But as a kid, we were sort of, oh my God, we couldn't wait to go and see them, and so it was almost the forbidden ones, with lots of blood, lots of slashes and
it was appealing.
Yeah, absolutely, yes. But the critics, they were really panned. I think they were considered lowly genre pictures, but successful.
Like a B movie.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Anybody else? You, Chris?
Let's go through first.
Sure?
Yes.
You've both got time, it's fine, don't worry.
Okay. Sylvia, I just wondered how old you actually were when you got to see the film and what your impression of it was. Because obviously once the music had been put in, all the effects and everything, were you shocked? Were you like, oh my God, this is like really cool, it's like way more horrific than I thought it would be, because you were used to seeing the effects being done but not
as a
finished
whole.
product.
Yeah, of course, when you see the big screen, is something different. Okay. I think that you can witness, because I love the atmosphere House by the Cemetery donates to people, and so I can tell you that this is, I don't know why, because I've seen it lots of time. The first time I was like this while seeing it, I was goosebumps. I don't know why, because I'm used to. But I was so involved now in the movie, and that it gives me a lot today with you as well. So it somehow it is capable to affect me, even after 40 years.
What is your favourite memory from being on set?
On this movie,
Yes,
in this
yes,
movie.
yes.
Well, there are lots of funny anecdotes about it. One, I remember, there are lots of things I can tell you about this movie. One is I was very curious, and I at the very beginning there is the man hanged with the sisters like this. I said, "Well, that's not possible." He was so happy. How can a sister could be capable to keep a body on to be pinned like this. And another one I was done, but Fucci was not good because Daniela Doria at the beginning, the knife entered the skull, but it was an L knife, because it entered like this, came out from here. How could it be possible? It has no nonsense. And another stuff was when I was walking around the rooms and close the makeup rooms, special effects room, and I saw something round in a corner. I went there and opened it, and it was the head of Anya Peroni. But it was beautiful. I wanted it with me. They didn't give me. I wanted to take all these special effects at home with me. Also my arm, because that I'm also the hand that killed Anya Peroni and Dagmar Lassander. And it was a pleasure. It has been a pleasure. I still remember walking with a knife like this, and I was standing there asking, I had to try to, I want the blade to spark, so I tried to put in the right direction, to make it sparkling with light. And I remember that I was trying to kill her, cutting her throat. She didn't scream. And I say, oh my God, she's stupid. I say, she doesn't scream. I know that it's impossible to say. The vocal cords are broken, but And so we had to do it twice, more than once, because Fucci yelled at her, but she was not capable. But it was very satisfying cutting. The first time I killed somebody. I hope the last one.
Can I ask you, was it satisfying because it was her?
Yeah.
Twice.
I was going to say,
yes, because I consider her as a little bit. I know, she acted with in a strange way. She seems to be a little dummy. I don't know why, but her character in there was perfect.
Yeah.
So a little bit of satisfaction for this, and for trying to be part of a Freudstein body somehow.
Giovanni was less than complimentary about her acting when he was here, wasn't he? Yeah.
Yes.
I can't quite remember the words that he used, but they were very memorable.
I think he was forced to have her on the set.
Yeah. The producers, I think, right?
She used to have connections.
Yes.
With very important politicians.
Yeah. Let's leave it.
But she's good for that role. I mean, without doing anything, she was perfect.
I've just remembered what he described her as now. He described her as a potato.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. I'll just come back to me. A potato.
She had a great face.
Yeah.
Beautiful face.
Beautiful eyes.
Yeah.
No one can deny that. No, beautiful eyes.
Is there a question in the middle? Yep.
Yeah, hi, thanks. My favourite film of all time.
Oh.
Absolutely classic.
Thank you.
Brilliant. And I've always found it a very mysterious film, especially around the end of it. And
Yes.
I wondered what your interpretation of
Okay, I can tell you about the end of the movie. Fulci was inspired by an author, Henry James. Okay, Henry James, and so his gothic horror novel, The Turn of the Screw.
Yeah.
And there is also a movie transposition by Jack Clayton. And that is why at the end of the movie we see the quote, "Are monsters children or vice versa?" And as if to say that everything that was told in the movie just happened in the imagination of the little protagonist of Bob. And the viewer, and even perhaps the death of his parents, and the viewer can also interpret the movie as a cyclical story, since events are repeated and probably happened in the past. So, because House by the Cemetery is a very gothic, and there is a fairy tale essence in the movie, and it differs from the others. And I think that not only in the quote of Henry James, but I think that Fulci wanted children to be the key figures of the movie. And you know that he has been accused of repeating something in The Shining, the relationship between children and adults. But on the contrary, he, in Shining there is complicity between the child and the overlooked cook.
Yeah.
While in House by the Cemetery, who is an adult, in House by the Cemetery, adults are irrelevant at all. So he wanted to say, in the end, there is a lot of pessimistic consideration of life. Bob, to be alive, to keep on living, he has to be with me, frozen in time and space in another dimension. Okay, he will never die, but he will never grow up. And evil will not be defeated. You see the house with the lights on in the window. Yes, it will always live in there. So you cannot escape from evil. There is no way. So it's a pessimistic consideration of life. It was very pessimistic. Fulci.
Any more hands up? Yep.
Question: from the moment when you were called to cast in the movie, and the moment then the movie was finished, did the expectation change from the moment you started to know about the movie and the finished product? Did you have different expectation on how it would come out in the end?
No, we didn't. I was very young. I just consider step by step only the scenes in which I was in. So but when I saw it, the whole movie, it was stunning. I can really tell you, it was beautiful, and I consider this is a little jewel. It differs from the other. It's not only gore, splatters or something like this. There is lots of poetry inside. I know that it sounds strange, but it is. No. The colors of the movie, the pastel colors, the place, lots of gothic, and it's very appealing somehow. And there is this discrepancy between, the children and the monster and adults, and you would never see horror going sided with horror. Children should not be involved in horror stuff. Anyway, it is based on childhood fears, and monstrosity make its way on into reality, probably. All the fears of children, when we have children, the same fears we have when we were young, the monster under the bed, or the monster in the basement, noises coming from. So it's all together. But probably he has a very pessimistic consideration of life, and probably he consider children better than adults, probably, because they are harmless. Somehow they
Harmless,
don't,
yeah.
yes, they don't do any
Yeah.
harm,
Yeah.
probably, except the Exorcist.
Not all of them, yeah.
Ex-Regan.
Thank you.
Was there a question here behind the light? Yep, go for it.
Have you had any recent acting offers?
I can't hear him. Sorry,
I can't hear him either.
Have you had any recent acting offers?
Acting offers, and
Yeah.
would you
Hai
like to,
avuto offerte per film recentemente?
And would you like to do more?
which
Have you been offered any
Offered
roles?
any more?
Ti hanno
Roles
offerto delle parti?
recently?
prima di questo?
No, recentemente.
Recently. Oh, I did
Witches
with
of the
Tony
Sand.
Marden.
Witches of the Sand.
The Witches of the Sand.
Yes.
Well, it was a cameo, and I did myself, and also Giovanni Lombardo Radice.
Yeah.
I'm very eager to see it. I'm very curious.
Oh, everyone
very curious
is.
because it was strange, but it's very funny. We had lots of fun together. Giovanni didn't show his feelings, but I knew that we did. And yes, I have some, and I did Black Things, and it's about aliens and about the mystery of aliens, of UFO. It's called UFO.
UFOs,
No,
yeah.
because now they are called differently. I know
Yeah,
they
we say UFO, but
say
they
UFO.
don't.
We are so. We love the past, so we used to say UFO. And another one, I have, yeah, that's not my main job. I do something completely different, even though I would like to do that for life. But it is difficult when you are an horror actress or an horror actor to come out from that role. People would always consider you as this one. So it's a little bit different. But it doesn't matter. I love it anyway. That's my life. That's me. That's me.
Anyone else?
Just wondering
Yeah.
how you got involved with Murder Rock, how that came about.
Murder Rock.
Because Fulci called me 2 years later, and I was very happy. Probably because, Antonella told me, Antonella Fulci, that he had a great consideration of my person. So I'm very happy to know that. And he called me, and I did his movie. Even though it was only a cameo, it was a very important role, because I discovered the killer. I wouldn't tell you who is. Probably everyone knows it. And he told me, you can do whatever you want. You just have to do this role. He just described me how to do that. I was in a wheelchair. Just say something you want to say about the picture you see in that. So he gave me, let's say, carte blanche. It's a white. We say white.
We give you freedom.
Freedom to do whatever I wanted and whatever I wanted to say. So for me, it's very. I really appreciate it, because he considered me probably better than used to, compared to the others. For sure, Giovanni too. He really loved Giovanni. How he acted was very good, and I can tell you.
Which of your films is your favourite to watch now? Is it this one, or is it
I don't
another
want
one?
to repeat it as always, but The Exorcist.
Oh well, yeah, of
No,
your
I
film,
didn't
of
know.
your
Oh,
film.
no,
Sorry.
yeah.
to do.
We're
House
gonna
by
get-
the Cemetery.
Okay.
Sorry.
I was
Yes.
also going to ask you what your favourite. I know you love horror films.
No, it's House by the Cemetery, because I consider it as really part of my life, and I'm not only because I have the possibility of coming, but I see of coming here and meeting fans. I'm very happy of it, because it gave me the possibility of knowing all of you, and not only behind Facebook, but in person, in real. But I'm a horror fan, so when I see a movie like this, they touch me in a way. They really touch me, and I'm very happy to be part of that cult movies, and so we have to preserve them somehow, because when we will not be here, I'm one of the youngest actors that can witness this. Who will? That's sad.
We've got the time for one or two more questions. Yep.
What advice would you give to your younger self?
Sorry?
What advice would you give to your younger
Non ho
self?
capito tu. Consiglio daresti a te da giovane?
For sure, I have a regret. The regret that I left doing this job. That's the only one. I know that I cannot force myself. I couldn't be different. If I was shy, but now I can tell you that that's one of my biggest regret.
You can still act.
Yeah, I want to act because I have it in my veins. I want to see people acting and say they're not because of me, I'm better, but they are not capable, I think. They don't do that with a heart. While we were doing these movies, we did it, and when I see it, I love horror. So for me, it's all natural. You know what? I have a regret. I know that's too late. But what do you think about this idea I have? 2 years ago, there was a Studio 666 from Foo Fighters that I love the band. And they did this movie about this haunted house, the stuff. It would have been great me to be part on the movie and say, don't come. I could have done it, but now it's too late. In the future, who knows? Any other possibility?
There'll be others. Ce ne saranno altri.
I hope so, but not with them. I would have liked.
Anybody else?
Just a quick question. As it's an unofficial trilogy, are you a fan of City of the Living Dead and the Beyond as well?
Yeah, the trilogy is the maximum expression of his hyper-violent period, Fulci. I can tell you that any of those three movies is different from the others. It's a trilogy, it's the Gate of Hell trilogy, but L'Aldilà de Beyond is very appealing, and there is it has something to do with the House by the Cemetery, especially in the end when the two protagonists are frozen in space and time. They're there, like me and Bob. So I know that there is this link this connection between the two movies. I love them all.
City of the Living Dead has a bit more of a sort of Lovecraftian feel to it, and it's weird time, space, and all sorts of things to it. There is that kind of theme that there's almost like a lucid dream theme throughout the whole films, where it's not really meant to be coherent because it's almost like a dream-like state of mind.
Yes, it's there is lots of. Fulci was a visionary director, and it's like a dream, and people will never be wake up from this dream. It's like being in a surrealism, something that is not true, but probably it is. You don't know, but it is linked to the consideration he has of life, of what he had in the past. And and Fulci, since he studied medicine, he's a very
precise.
No, he has a very knowledge of the body and anatomy. That's why he's very keen on that. You see, in any movie there is a lot of.
He had a lot of fascination with eyes.
It was very fascinating. And I love also the shortcut on the eyes. This is and it's characteristic to focus on eyes and stuff like this. And sometimes movies have nonsense. It doesn't reveal the meaning as a whole. In House by the Cemetery, why Norman been told so many times, "We saw you there."
Yeah.
Why? We will never know that.
Sometimes you wonder if he's having an affair with Anne because of
there seems to be a chemistry there.
Connection between them.
Probably there is another dimension inserting in the reality.
Like you said as well, I mean, there are certain films where the coherency isn't there, but it doesn't need to be there. They're good films, and there's
No,
other
you don't
films
have to.
where
Otherwise,
it just
yes, you don't
doesn't
have
make
to.
any sense, but it doesn't make the
No,
film
yes,
any good.
that's
But
it.
with the Gates of Hell trilogy, you can watch them and still question 40 years later what the actual meaning is. They still have 40 different
If you
scenarios.
start trying to find an explanation,
It's endless.
no.
It depends on the day of the week to what the explanation is. What
Well,
mood
you
you're in.
English are very fond of nonsense, so it's easy for you
I talk a lot
now.
with some used to-
Like humor, stuff like this, and nonsense in a positive way.
Yes.
Because Monty Python, I love Monty Python. So
Yeah.
I come from the
It's
school.
like watching a different movie every time. It's like there's so many different ways you can interpret it.
Yeah.
Who knows?
We've got time for one more question. Don't be shy. Okay, I'm going to ask the last one then. So apart from The Shining, which other horror films do you love that you've not been in? So other horror films.
I would have liked to be in.
Well, yeah, okay, that you'd like to be in. Yeah, let's go with that.
But you mean movie that we already did?
Yeah, sure. That you enjoy.
Sono film che sono già stati fatti, quali sono i tuoi preferiti?
Sì, vabbè, except
Quale
for,
vorresti essere?
apart,
essere
well,
pazza?
well, The Exorcist for sure. Not me. I would like to do. I have ideas of doing movies in the future. I have ideas of what to do, but I prefer to keep them. Oh well, I can tell you. Yes, I told perhaps 2 years ago, probably a prequel of House by the Cemetery, not a sequel. A prequel, because according to me, the movie stops like this. This is the way Fucci wanted it to finish, to stop. So I don't want to imagine something beyond this one. But probably before, the way Jacob Freudstein became insane, what led him to this insanity. It's very curious. I would like to search and who knows? We'll see. That's my. I'm very curious. I'm very interested in doing a prequel.
You know, you said you like a prelogue of this. Who would you like it to prequel? Sorry.
Who would you like to direct it?
Who would you like it to direct it then?
Yeah. There are some Italian directors very good as well.
Yeah.
Yes, we have. I know. Do you know Federico Zampaglione? Who did Federico Zampaglione? Well, he's an Italian director. He's fond of horror as well. We could work on it. Let's see. But it would be great without ruining the movie in itself,
Sure.
because it's before. What happened? What happened to me? Why? How my father killed me? Why? How? My mother as well. What happened?
Would you keep it traditional like this, or would you change it somehow?
Or what? Or what?
From Gothic.
Lo mantieni nello stile gotico.
Yes, of course. Of course, because we are talking about 1 century before, so it should be by force Gothic to Victorian, atmosphere. I have an idea.
Okay.
I was just wondering with what you said about May, were you given any backstory about how you became trapped in this?
Yes, and yes.
You were given backstory as to...
Yes, a backstory about what happened, why what happened to the insanity of him, what happened to his family, so me, and I have the whole movie in my head, my mind. I know it. So I'm trying to
One day.
one day.
Yes.
Not too late.
No, never too late. Never
It's
too
never
late.
too
Sylvia.
late. Hope so.
We're going to have to wrap it there, but we're going to finish there.
Yes.
But thank you so much, Sylvia,
Thank
for
you.
coming from Italy. Yes, I'll be a round of applause, please, for Sylvia.
For being here, I really appreciate you being here. That's my. It fills my heart with joy being with all the fans, because you're very kind, you're very nice, and thank you.
Thank you. Grazie.
Grazie, grazie.